A 2018 study of 1,200 adults found that 1 in 3 people wouldn't quite believe a man who said he was raped by a woman. But I'll take it a step further, because 1 in 4 people believed that a man would actually enjoy it. Source: The Washington Post, 2021. Quite frankly, I'm not quite surprised, considering we have women out on the internet making grotesque videos like this, pretty much prancing to the entire world that they're into little boys, and I see these videos all over the internet. Feel free to email me more, because I would love to be able to call more of them out. This is Andrea, a 31-year-old Colorado woman who admits to having sex with 13-year-old middle schooler and having his baby, and she won't face any jail time under her plea deal. Now, there's something I really want to point out to you. If he's a little boy, 14, 13 years old, and she is 31 years old, what would the word for that be if the gender roles were reversed? Rape. That would be the word. But instead, whenever this type of stuff is reported on, there's very selective wording that reporters use when a male is a victim of an older woman, and it's have sex. And why do they do this? Because it implies consent. Just take a look at this headline. Glamorous Harris, 45, charged with having sex with 14-year-old boy 4 times in one day. Look at the glamour shots that they chose to use for her. I'm surprised that this other woman had her mugshot personally, but it's probably because she wasn't that attractive to begin with. Whenever the perpetrator is attractive, they always report on it with some glamour shots, and they never use the proper terminology, which is victimization and rape. But let's bring it back to Andrea Serrano for a second. She was arrested July 2022 on felony charges including sexual assault on a child by one in position of trust, as well as sexual assault on a child. Police said she admitted to having sex with the teenager and was booked into the IE Paso County Criminal Justice Center. I want to highlight what the mother had to say about this, because I feel like it speaks volumes. I feel like my son is robbed of his childhood, the teen's mother told KKTV. Now he's having to be a father. He's a victim, and now he's going to have to live with that for the rest of his life. She also said that she's frustrated, noting she believes things would be different in cases involving an older man and a younger girl. Serrano will avoid any jail time since the district attorney's office dropped the original charges to a lesser charge that does not come with mandatory jail time. Let's be honest. There's a lot of grooming in society. We groom men with our language, and it starts with right when they're little boys, to be honest with you. It starts with phrases like, oh, you're a little ladies' man. Your little boy comes home from kindergarten and says he has 2 girlfriends. You as a father are probably more likely to say, that a boy. But if it was your little girl, you would say, no dating until you're 30. So whenever a case comes out like this, there's always people who say, oh, I wish that was me. There are tons of people who say things like, oh, I wish my teacher would have came on to me at 13. I wish a 45-year-old hot woman would have banged me 4 times a day. And society does an awesome job, even with the headlines, at grooming and convincing men that this is just normal behavior. I want to point you to this famous 2014 case, statutory rape victim forced to pay child support. State law says a child younger than 15 cannot consent with an adult under any circumstance. That makes Olivia a rape victim. Olivia's didn't press charges and said he didn't realize at the time that it was even something to consider. Olivia's was continuously raped by his school teacher, and when he was 24, he found out that he had a child, which he was then forced to pay child support for. Now, he didn't find out about this child till he was 23, but this victim is going to be well and aware about the child, and considering the fact that the state that he's in, a judge already ruled that this woman should not face any jail time, I have no reason to believe that the state is not going to rule that this victim should be responsible for child support as well. Which brings me to this quote. Young men need to be socialized in such a way that rape is as unthinkable to them as cannibalism. Now I want to bring you back to this survey. A 2018 survey of 1,200 adults that found that 1 in 3 wouldn't believe a man who said that he was raped, and 1 in 4 believed that a man would actually enjoy it. Here's the thing. Society refuses to believe that men are victims, and the reason for this is because then the feminist agenda really is no longer valid, and the feminist agenda is to dehumanize men, emasculate them, and push this women are empowered, meanwhile using the leftover parts of patriarchy to benefit and convince everybody that they're weak. Surveying the men in my community alone, I asked them, growing up as a child/youth, were you aware that women could be perpetrators as well as men? 43% said no, because nobody had taught them. Meanwhile, 16% said yes, adults in their life had in fact made them aware.